When you think of the most aggressive dog breeds, what comes to mind? You may be surprised to learn that the top three aggressive dog breeds are actually Dachshunds, Chihuahuas, and Jack Russell Terriers. While these dogs typically have less damaging bites than a pit bull, um, blaming solely the dog involved in an attack is irresponsible and only solves part of the problem. Would you blame just the shark if a shark was to attack someone, or would it be partly the person's fault also? Dogs learn much of their behavior by how they're treated from humans and their environments that they're put in. Um, Responsible ownership of a pit bull leads to a healthy and happy family companions. Proper training combined with a dog's instinct to work and please their owner allows for a wide range of uses for these amazing dogs. Originally bred for blood sports such as bull baiting and fighting, the pit bull has come a long way since then, and their abilities can be used for many different useful things. Unfortunately, the past and current uses in illegal fighting has given them a stigma that's been hard to shake. There are now shelters all over the country overflowing with pit bull populations, and many of the ones that come in are euthanized as soon as they come in, with no chance for adoption. Due to overbreeding and irresponsible breeding by people in their backyards to people all over the country just overbreeding and overpopulating, and and they provided poor care of the dogs. A lot of these dogs are in horrible shape, left on chains, and are nothing but skin and bones, or scarred to death from fighting. And many of these dogs end up just being put down, and they never get a chance for a healthy, happy life. And some of these dogs have been taken from fighting groups, and they do end up being adopted out to unknowing families and end up causing problems down the road, just because they were uninformed and had no idea the background or the things that this dog had been through. Many of them are abused and neglected by their owners and just left in horrible conditions. When confiscated, most of them are euthanized. Several places around the world and in our own country have taken up breed-specific legislation to outright ban pit bulls in places such as Miami and Britain and various other places throughout the world have just outright banned pit bulls altogether. And Miami, as I said, has such legislation in place, and according to the Florida Health Organization, over 600 Floridians are hospitalized due to dog bites each year. In addition, the report also states that across all age groups, the most common cause of dog bites was inappropriate behavior management, such as interacting with the dog while he's eating, or roughhousing with the dog, or touching or moving the dog against its will. These types of bites occur most frequently in the owner's home. In order to prevent these attacks on humans and mistreatment of dogs of all breeds, not just pit bulls, there are many things that can be done in a manner positive to all parties involved. And there's a lot of debate on whether pit bulls should be banned or not, or, and it's a very heated debate. As I said, there's lots of legislation in place, and the debate still rages on today. According to the American Veterinary Medical Association, National Dog Bite Prevention Week is observed May 17th through 23rd. And this allows for a time of increased awareness and promotes responsible behavior for interactions with dogs of all types. Like I mentioned about the Chihuahuas and the Dachshunds, any dog can be dangerous. It doesn't just have to be a pit bull or a Rottweiler or any large breed dog. So responsible ownership and care around any animal, domestic or not, is part of interacting with them. Several television programs have been made that show a positive side to pit bulls that is largely ignored by the news media. Such programs include Pit Bulls and Parolees, giving both dogs and humans a second chance at a better life, and Pit Boss, which focuses on rescuing and rehabilitating pit bulls. And programs such as these have helped show a more positive side of things than the average news promotes. Most of the news, anytime a dog bite is reported, be it a pit bull or otherwise, since the pit bull's reputation is such for attacks, that gets put in the forefront, and that's what most people see. Many shelters also offer discount spay and neuter programs to help cut down on the overbreeding, and that's another thing that helps for being a responsible owner is spay and neuter your dog so that there won't be that many more homeless, abused, abandoned dogs out on the street. Pit bulls are also not appropriate for just anyone to own, and a great deal of research should be gone into before deciding to get one, or any dog for that matter. You could go to a veterinarian or various animal shelters and see different types of dogs, interact with different dogs, and see what will work with you, and veterinarian could discuss different types of breeds, just what would be best for yourself and your family and your lifestyle. Pit Bull's ownership takes a great amount of responsibility and care, and being that they're such powerful working dogs, there's a different type of responsibility that comes along with that. Also, if you do decide to get one and feel that they're right with you, dealing with reputable breeders and shelters when looking for any new dog is very important. It's also important to learn as much about a dog's background as possible. You never know what they've been through, and especially if you're adopting an older dog that was rescued and is at a shelter. It's very important to learn as much about their background as possible so that you know the proper methods to use when you're training them, and just how to interact with them appropriately. If they've been abused, then you may have to take certain precautions with them whenever you're interacting with them. And people not taking those precautions is one thing that leads to more unprovoked attacks. Also, pit bulls make great police dogs, or some have even been used for bomb sniffing dogs and cadaver finding dogs, and for in the military or civilian life both. They also make good companions for elderly, and just for medical uses as well. And some of them have even been famous actors, such as Petey from The Little Rascals is a really well-known one, but there have been many others used in various different films throughout the years. And unfortunately, pit bulls are too often mistreated and unnecessarily killed. Over the past several years, I myself have owned and rescued many pit bulls and dealt with all types of good and bad situations, seen lots of horrible things and lots of good come out of those things. Fortunately, I was able to help a lot of them and find good homes for them and get them into a better life and better environment. And I feel like if more education about the breed and guidelines for proper ownership were established, it would help cut down on a lot of these attacks and give the dogs and humans a better future together.